Hi guys! Today's video is a little different. It's not my usual travel vlog. I'm actually here in Coron, staying in this really unique yurt. So today I wanted to hit pause on my other travel uploads because so many of you found me through my Camino series. I honestly didn't expect those videos to get so much attention and bring in so many new subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. Before I dive into your questions, just a quick note. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love for you to join the channel because soon I'll be sharing my experience walking Japan's Kumano Kodo and how I became a dual pilgrim. That's a recognition you get if you've completed both the Camino de Santiago and the Kumano Kodo, and I can't wait to tell you more about that in a future video. Alright, now let's get into the Q&A. I've gathered the most common questions from across my Camino videos, and I'll answer them here, from planning to the walk itself to packing and everything in between. So let's do it. Let's start with the first question. I get asked this a lot. So it says here, you seem to have had good weather. What month did you walk? So yeah, the same. Which month did you walk the Camino? When did you go? So I started walking August 4, 2024. So last year at 5 p.m. So I left Porto at 5 p.m. and then I finished walking August 17. I took a 2-day break on August 10 and 11. So the total number of days that I walked was 12 days. So yeah, I had good weather. I experienced rain only once, one day only. It was August, so it was the summer in Europe, which means they have longer days. I think usually the sun sets around 9 p.m., which is good because I'm not an early riser, so it was okay even if like I start at 9 a.m. Like when I reach my albergue, it's not yet dark. So because I feel that if it's not yet dark, then I'm very safe. So yeah, I think it's good to walk in the summer. And then as for the temperature, I don't know if it was just me because I'm a Southeast Asian and especially in the Philippines is super hot. So I'm used to hot weather, but I really didn't find it too hot when I was walking. In fact, when I was in Portugal, because I took the Sender literal route, so I was just following the coastline. It was actually chilly, so I had to wear my jacket. There were times that I had to wear my jacket. Yeah, so I didn't feel hot. Maybe when I was closer to Santiago was the only time that it felt much hotter, but it wasn't like super hot. And then there's another question here. It says, from the Philippines, where did you land? So I flew from the Philippines July 25. I arrived in Barcelona July 26, and then I visited Barcelona and then flew to Portugal and visited Lisbon, Sintra, and Fatima before going to Porto to start my walk. Okay, next question. Very nice videos, enjoying them a lot. I am curious what app you used for navigation. Which one do you recommend? Or did you just follow the arrows and signs? Also, how do you know where to go if you reach a crossroad? So in crossroads, there's a sign. So you'll know. Also, I used Camino Ninja app. That's the only app that I used. So it's like using Google Maps, but in Camino Ninja. So when you open the app, you can select which route you're going to take, like what Camino route. So for me, it was Sendo Litoral. And then you just follow the red thing. Yep, it's like using Google Maps, really. So you will also see where you are in the map. And then the arrows and signs, they were also helpful just to assure me that I am on the right path. And then it says here, what app are you using to show the concluding map of your day's walk? So every time I start my walk, I open Strava and then I start the walk. So it records my walk. So I see there what time I started walking, how many hours it took me, and to reach my albergue. So when I reach my albergue, then I have to stop it. I have to stop recording. And then you also see there how long was the distance that you walk. And there is also a map of your walk for the day. Okay. Next question. How did you plan your trip? How did you know where to stay? And is it best to use a travel agent? And there's another question I got from my email. Did you have a preference for guidebooks or resource material like Braille book, Camino Ninja, Wise Pilgrim? Okay, so planning my trip, I didn't read any books. I only used Camino Ninja app. So what helped me plan were blogs about Camino Portuguese. I also checked videos in YouTube, and then there was this, I forgot the name. Like you can book a package of the whole walk. So I just checked their like sample, like if I plan to walk 12 days, like what is the starting point and the end point for the day. So I also checked that one. I think it's Camino Ways, if I'm not mistaken. And then, how did you know where to stay? So, I was also working while I was in Europe. But during my walk, I applied for vacation leave for I don't know, I think I worked for 3 days and then the rest, I applied for vacation leave. So, like, I had to schedule that I only walk for this number of days. And then another thing that, like affected my schedule was I was meeting my friend who is from Vigo. So we agreed to meet in Oya. So I planned my walk in such a way that I reached Oya because we were meeting Friday. We were meeting August 9. So like I set my schedule that I should be in Oya by August 9. But then like a few days before meeting, he said that we better meet in Aguarda instead. So it was shorter. That's why my August 9 walk, it was a very short walk. So yeah, so given the number of days, I just divided, like I checked the number of kilometers from Camino. That's what's good with the Camino Ninja app. So you can choose the route that you're planning to walk, and then you choose the starting point and the end point, and you will see there how many kilometers is that. And then I was like, okay, can I do this? So my normal pace, usually when I walk, it takes me like, I think for 1 hour is like 4 kilometers. So that was my basis for checking if I can do this number of kilometers in a day. Yeah, so that's how I planned my walk. As for the accommodation, so um, I did a schedule already of my walks and then of my endpoints per day. And then I just check in booking.com what are the albergues that are available. So I pre-booked everything, all of my accommodations. And I stayed in private albergues. So I didn't have any experience staying in public albergues. Okay, now let's talk about accommodation. So it says here, um, in the accommodations you stayed in, did you ever have the need for sleeping bag? Debating whether to bring one along. You don't need a sleeping bag if you're staying in a private albergue. So I brought sleeping bag liner and it just added to the weight that I carried. I never used it. So when I met with my friend during my break, I left him that one because I didn't need it. The private albergues, they provide comforters or how do you call it, blanket. Yeah, but you need to bring towel because some albergues, there are some that provide towels, but there are some that you have to pay for it. Like you have to rent the towel, so might as well bring a lightweight towel. Also, okay, as I've been seeing a lot of questions in the Facebook group asking if do you need to book your accommodations in advance? Based on my experience, I think that if you're doing it in the summer, especially in the Spain part, or the part where all the routes of the Camino Portuguese meet, like Central, Coastal, and the Central Littoral meet. Um, I think that you need to pre-book because when I was applying for my visa, I pre-booked everything, right? But then I had to change my schedule because I was meeting my friend, stuff like that. So I canceled all those reservations. And then when I was trying to book like 3 days before reaching that place, I had a hard time looking for albergues. Like most of the places were fully booked, even in Portugal, because in the summer there are a lot of festivals in Spain and also in Portugal. So aside from the pilgrims, so you'll also have competitions like the locals that would, I don't know, from other places that would visit that place to attend a festival. So I think that's one problem. So yeah, I had to book with Airbnb for the places where I wasn't able to find an albergue. I had to rent a private room, which costs more than staying in a private albergue. So I think if you're planning to walk on a certain budget, I think it would be better if you pre-book all your accommodations. Another question here, was there a checkpoint at the border to check your passport? From Portugal, I crossed to Spain, right? So there's no border because Portugal and Spain are both in the Schengen zone. So you don't need to, there are no borders when you move from one country to the next one. Hi, do you remember which section of the detour that you took to went along the beach? Thanks. So it was the section between Esposende to Viana do Castelo. It was before reaching Viana do Castelo. It was in Praia do Rodano. So there was a boardwalk. So I was following the boardwalk, and then suddenly the boardwalk was gone. It was covered by sand dunes. And then the wind was so strong, it was like super windy in that part. So I decided to go down the beach just so I don't get lost. So I continued walking until I finally found a way to go back to the boardwalk. And then somehow I managed to find my way back to the route. Okay, so next, where did you source your gear in the Philippines? So, I sourced my gear in the mall. I actually just used what I already have. But for the shoes, I bought a new one. But I wore it for a few times first before starting my Camino. That's why I didn't get any blisters. So my shoes was Columbia. I also had like a belt bag so that it will be easier to get my phone, power bank, stuff like that. So and my passport, my money in the belt bag. It's also from Colombia. And then the backpack that I used, it was a bag that I bought in an airport in Indonesia. I think it was in Bali. It's American Tourister. And then the pants that I used were from Uniqlo. They are like cargo pants. So it has pockets. I don't know. I think it's better because you can also put your phones there. Easier to reach when you need them. And then the dry fit shirt I bought in outlet stores in Bali. Okay, so another question that I get asked often is what camera do I use for the walk? So what type of camera? What app did you use with? Uh, yeah, so I use three types of camera. That's why um my bag was heavy. So I had the 360 camera. It's a 360 X4. If you saw the videos where you can see me walking, it's like drone shot, but it's not really that one. So I use the Insta 360. Like it has invisible selfie stick. So when I walk, I do like that. So I can record myself walking. And then um, for most of the parts of the videos that I shared, I had this one. It's DJI Action 2. I think they stopped selling this already, but when I was in Japan, I saw that they still have this one. So it's a good one. You just hang in your neck like that. Okay, and that's it. It's really, I don't know, very convenient. So like, if you want to record, you just press this one and then you start recording while you're walking. And then I also use my phone for others. Um, Also, I had two phones. I always had two phones. So I had the iPhone and Samsung S23. So I used my iPhone for music because, well, if you're walking alone, it really helps when you're listening to music. And then the Camino Ninja app was in my other phone. Okay, so the reason for that is that so that I don't run out of battery until I reach my albergue, because the first I think the first day or the second day it was a really bad planning. So I almost didn't find my albergue because my phone died before I reached it. Yeah, so and even my power bank. Okay, so additional tips I highly recommend. So the things that I think you should bring when you do the Camino, you need to have cap, hat, whatever to, yeah. So I had this one. I also bought this from Colombia, and then earphones or whatever, like to listen to music, especially if you're walking alone. And then power bank, really important, especially if you're going to take videos, photos, and you'll be using mobile data. I think it will use up a lot of your phone's battery. So having a power bank would be really helpful. Yeah, and shades. I just bought it from Sanis. It's a Filipino brand, I think. Yeah, that's it. And then for the socks, I didn't use any special socks. It's the socks that I always had before. So this one, it's very thin. Actually, it's not thick socks. Let's see, it's Coca-Cola socks. So these are the socks that I used. I brought 3 pairs of socks. And then when I was in Vigo, I bought 2 more pairs because socks takes longer to dry. Okay, then the next one is about plantar fasciitis. Okay, so if you watched all my videos, you'll see, I think it was in day 3 that I had a really, really bad day because of my plantar fasciitis. Actually, before I started walking, I didn't know that I had plantar fasciitis. I just noticed it when I started walking because it was the first time that I walked very long distance. Okay, so let's read the question. It says here, I'm also very prone of getting plantar fasciitis. How do you treat your problems along the journey? At home, I will do massage gun, rolling pin, and many stretches to recover from that. So actually, yeah, so as I said earlier, I didn't know that I had plantar fasciitis. I just noticed that like after walking for 2 hours, the part here feels it feels really painful, but it was tolerable. So what I do when I start feeling the pain, I stop, sit down, remove my shoes, remove my socks, and I try to massage it like that. And then I continue walking again. But on the third day, it was really bad because like even if I stop and try to massage it, like every I don't know, every 500 meters I had to stop. It was really painful. Like if I step like that, it's really painful. So I have very high pain tolerance, but that day I really couldn't tolerate the pain. It was really that painful. Yeah. Um, and then the following days, I don't know if because my bag was lighter, so it didn't feel as much as the previous day. But I'm glad that I only had plantar fasciitis and not blisters. So I met people along the road where they said they had a lot of blisters. When I was in Moledo, in an Airbnb that I stayed at in the same room, there was this German guy. He said that he had to stop for a few days because he had really bad blisters. He couldn't walk. Like it was super painful to walk. So he had to stop for a few days. Thankfully, I didn't have blisters. I don't know if it's because I was able to break in my shoes before starting to walk long distance, or maybe I'm just not that type to get blisters. Okay, so this one, I think it's related to the other question. It says here, I am shocked at your mileage rate. Being small and carrying a pack, I would not expect to see such mileage. Very impressive. You must be in great shape. Also, was curious, on day 2 or maybe day 3, you mentioned you had blisters forming. I guess you were able to treat those and still put in big mileage days. What is the secret? Most people with blisters slow way down and some even stop. So yeah, I talked about the blister. I talked about blisters already. Um, yeah. So thankfully, I didn't get blisters. So I don't really know how to answer that. But for the plantar fasciitis, yeah, somehow I managed to finish my walk even with plantar fasciitis. Um, as for the bag, actually, I think that I brought a lot of things, but it was because after my Camino, I was also exploring other parts of Europe because I was in Europe for 45 days. It was my first time to visit Europe, so I was also planning to visit other parts of Spain and Italy after my Camino. So I had to bring some dresses, but like I only brought, I think, one or two dresses and one skirt, like that. Very limited, but so if you're going to walk the Camino just and you're only doing just that, just walking, not going anywhere else, I think two tops for walking is enough. Just like what my friend's friend said. So you need two tops and then one for to wear when you're sleeping. So two for walking, and two pants also, and then two pairs of socks or more. I don't know. Because what you can do is the top that you wear today, when you reach your albergue, you take the shower, you wear the shirt that you're going to wear for sleeping, and then you can wash the. You should. That's why it's good if you have a quick dry shirt. So you wash your shirt, and then the next day when you wake up, it's already dry. So you only need two. You just wash every day. For the pants, I didn't wash my pants every day. I think I used my pants like 3 times before I washed it. It doesn't get dirty. Actually, it wasn't muddy or what. So I think three. Wearing the pants 3 times is okay. I didn't feel itchy, even if I used it for like even if I used it 3 times before washing, I didn't feel itchy. So I guess it's okay. Great shape. Actually, I don't know. Just so before doing the Camino, I stayed in Bali for I think 3 months because in the Philippines the summer is super hot. So I spent my summer in Bali. So every afternoon I walk for 1 hour on the beach. I think that's the only warm up I had. And also when I arrived in Barcelona, well, when you're sightseeing, you walk a lot, right? And also I visited Montserrat. So I hiked. I was also carrying my backpack. I actually have a video of my Montserrat hike. So you can watch it. So I think, and also when I was in Sitges, yeah, I walked a lot also. And then when I visited Sintra, it's the same. I walked a lot. So I think because I've been walking a lot before starting Camino Portuguese, somehow it helped me warm up. Okay, so I got another question. It's from the email. Someone emailed me. So she said, was the route you took more on roads rather than the forest? Personally, I would prefer to use the original route rather than traversing slippery rocks and hills through the forests. I noticed that on the route, the stages of Porriño to Redondela and Redondela to Pontevedra had hills with steep ascent and descents. We also plan to split the last stage, stopping overnight at Miladoiro before making the ascent to Santiago. Okay, so for the Sendo Litoral, it's mostly boardwalks. So on the start, when you start in Porto, you get out of the city and then you follow that one. So you'll be walking through boardwalks, and then when you reach Spain, you'll be walking on roads, forests. Yeah, there was a part in Aguarda when I was meeting my friend. I walked through a forest, but it wasn't like it was flat actually. It wasn't like I think the only part with ascents are when you get to Vigo. In Vigo, and then from Vigo to Redondela, but I think it's manageable. I mean, it is a bit tiring because especially if you're used to walking on flat roads. So that's the only part that was that had ascent, and the rest is okay. So because here, I think one of one of her concerns also is that they are retired senior citizens. Actually, you can do it even if you're a senior citizen, I think. So when I was walking the Vigo to Redondela route, I met a couple. They're Filipinos who migrated to Canada, and they are in their mid 60s, and they were able to do the the Camino, but they only started in Vigo. So they did the last 100 kilometers. Yeah, I think you can do it. Even the Korean lady that I met, she was old, I think. She was also senior citizen. I didn't ask her age, but I think she's a senior citizen also. I think you still can do it if just as long as you can walk. Maybe just shorten your mileage per day. Like don't do what I did. Don't do 27 kilometers, 95 kilometers. You can do maybe 15 kilometers a day if you're not rushing, or 12 kilometers. I think it will be manageable. So another question that I got, it was written in Spanish. I had it translated by Google. So it says, did you feel something special? I'm sure you learned valuable life lessons. Did you know there's a path that leads to eternal life? Okay. I don't know about the path that leads to eternal life, but did I feel something special? Yes. And well, I learned a lot of valuable lessons while walking because, well, when you're walking and you're alone, you're just with your thoughts. So, like, you get to think of all the things. So the most important lesson that I learned is that you don't need a lot of things in your life because I survived 2 weeks with just a backpack. So we don't really need a lot of things. And then another thing, our mind is very powerful. Like, for example, I told my friend that maybe being hungry is just your, I mean, it's just all in your mind. Like, because when I was walking, like I've walked mostly like 27 kilometers a day, right? But I never felt like super hungry every time, even though I was tired. Maybe because um I was more feeling tired than hungry. So it's like your mind wasn't actually thinking about food, but like it was thinking about how sore your body is, something like that. So yeah, so I think it depends on what you focus on. It's like it's so your thoughts are very powerful. So yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense. And then another thing is like I learned, well, actually even before walking, I knew that I was super blessed because okay, maybe a lot of people would like to do the Camino also. Not just me, but like a lot of people, but not anyone can do it. First, you have to go to Spain, and like for example, for Filipinos, it's very hard to get a Shenzhen visa. You need to prove that you are financially capable of doing that, of going to Spain, you know, or not everyone are physically able to do long distance walks. So I think that I'm very blessed because I was able to do it. I had the finances to fund my trip. So every time I entered a church, I, I was like, I always felt gratitude. Like when I kneel down to pray, I always say thank you for all because um last year I really felt super blessed. I think that I had a lot of blessings. So I was super grateful. Yeah, that's it. I think so I'm getting I, like I still get emotional every time I think of that until now. As you can see, like this is already my third take, and I still get teary eyed every time I talk about it. So yeah, it's very. I think walking the Camino is life changing, and also once you've done it, I think that you'll want to do it again. So like for me, I want to do the Via de la Plata next, but um, it's also okay to do the Camino Portuguese again. But like right now, my goal is to walk the Via de la Plata. It's from the south of Spain to Santiago. So yeah, hopefully I get to do it next year. I need it's a longer route. It's around 1,000 kilometers. So I need to prepare for that. So fingers crossed I do it in 2026. I just wanted to add some more tips. I didn't get them in the questions, but I just thought I'd share. So because I've been seeing questions in Facebook groups also of people asking if you need cash. So personally, okay. So in my experience, I think you need cash, especially in the Portugal side. Most of the restaurants that I went to, they didn't accept cards, so it's better if you have cash. In Spain, I think most accepted card, but in Portugal, they didn't. Okay, and then for the food, so a fellow pilgrim asked me before, how did I know what to order? Because most of the menus are in Spanish when you're in Spain. And also, not all can speak English, at least in the Spanish part. In Portugal, in my experience, most can speak English, especially the younger ones. But in Spain, some do not know how to speak English. So in the menus, they are also written in Spanish. So I use Google Translate. And also, I know a little about Spanish food because of my friend who is from Vigo. So I know the foods to try. Okay, let's also talk about safety because I was a solo female, right? So I'm used to traveling solo all the time. I've been to almost all the countries in Southeast Asia, and I've been traveling solo all the time. So, did I feel safe while walking the Camino? Yes. There were parts where I was the only person. Like when I walked through that forest in Aguarda, there was no one there. I didn't see a single soul. And well, did I feel unsafe? Actually, no. But well, sometimes I get paranoid because I love watching true crime documentaries. But I was thinking, this is not US, this is Spain. So somehow it helped. I don't know. Also, I was like thinking, are there dangerous animals here? Like, are there snakes, stuff like that? But well, my friend assured me that there are no dangerous animals. So yeah. And maybe knowing that I have a friend who lives nearby, because he was in Vigo that time, and yeah, I met him during the break. So I think it helped, somewhat helped. It made me feel more confident and more brave because I knew that if something happened to me, I have someone that I could call. It was very safe, I think. But of course, um, you should still be cautious, like for example in albergues when you go to the shower, make sure you don't leave your valuables in your bed like that. I always bring my valuables with me when I go and take a shower. Like I have a bag where I put all my important stuff, or if there's a locker in the albergue, then you put it in the locker because you can't trust anyone, right? Well, people are kind, but you still don't. I mean, it's hard to trust. So better be safe than sorry, right? I hope that answered most of your questions about the Camino. If you still have questions I didn't get to cover, feel free to drop them in the comments and maybe I'll do a part 2. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.